We had a lot of comments. Your corned beef hash looks weird. What happens if I want to eat lunch? What happens if I'm a vegetarian or a vegan? Well, I'm here to answer none of those questions and to ask 16 more, such as, do you want to have a delicious dinner? Because if you do, look no further, we're making chicken. Look, a lot of people make chicken. Chicken isn't hard to make. But that doesn't mean it can't be delicious and fun to make. So, start off with one whole chicken. If you're freezing your chicken and you buy them in bulk like I do when they're nice and cheap, make sure you wrap them in saran wrap so they freeze better and don't get disgusting when you try to defrost them. I'm no chef. But when I do a chicken, what I like to do is sort of butterfly it. That's the word. Knife, good pair of scissors, you don't need that. First thing you want to do is locate the spine. If you don't know the difference between the front and the back of the chicken, then you need some more help than I can give you. We want to cut that out. Just cut along the spine. Don't worry about cutting through bone, don't worry about cutting through any of that. You're not going to be cutting through any of the important meat. I like to trim a little bit of the excess fat off the bottom of the chicken. There, now that we've cut out the spine, we want to take out this portion. And if you look inside, you'll see there's sort of this white bone here, which is the back. All you need to do is cut down till you feel hard right there. Then run your knife along that white bone. Now this is a frozen chicken, so this probably isn't going to be as smooth, but all you have to do is pop this. And that bone comes out. Then you just grab it and pull. And there you go. Butterfly chicken. Doesn't look that pretty from this side. And when you flip it over, look at that. Everything's golden. Good to be cooked. Looky here, I'm not teaching culinary practices. I never went to school for any of this bullshit, alright? I know that this is not exactly done right. I know this bone here is popping out. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's gonna taste good and this is gonna work. And that's the important thing, alright? Start with a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna do the underside, then I'm gonna put it into the pan, and then we're going to dress the top, so to speak. A little bit of kosher salt. So this is just the honey garlic seasoning. Now again, this is the underside, so I'm not too worried about this looking pretty or being even or anything like that. There. Now this goes in the cast iron pan. This is your cast iron pan. You may remember it from such We Eat Shit videos as the last one I did. Same pan, cast iron. Get a good one. You'll never work a day in your life. There we go, we just put it down. See? Now ain't she a beaut? No one's gonna see the butchering you did on the inside. And we're gonna do the same. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of kosher salt, and we're gonna do this again. But this time, because I want it to be evenly coated, and I want the skin to be crispy, I'm gonna rub the oil on first. Now I like to pat it in a little bit just to get it in those crevices. Now there is some seasoning at the bottom of the pan, but remember there's a lot of fat on this chicken that's going to render off, so it's not going to burn. And this bad boy's ready to go in the oven. But at what temperature, you may ask? Well, we're going to start off at 450, 425, let's do 450. And we're going to bake it. Now you could broil it, get it nice and crispy, but then you'd probably want to go a little bit higher and you want to go for a lot shorter time. I'm going to go in for 15 minutes. Now while the oven preheats and the dishes are done, let's prep our sweet potatoes. Give them a wash. Wash sweet potatoes. Now, when you're cooking sweet potatoes, they're not the same as regular potatoes. The reason being, they cook a lot faster. In an ideal situation, actually, you don't have to boil them. Steaming them gives you a much better result. But that being said, we're just gonna do them potato style. And that starts with cutting them. If you have any bad spots, just cut them off. Mise en place. Now, while your oven is prepping before you put the chicken in and your potatoes are already cut, you want to look for another alternative, because you can't just have sweet potato mash and chicken for dinner. You gotta have another vegetable. At least that's what your wife tells you. So you furiously look for something in the fridge to make. It'll be a salad. But first things first, we gotta cut up the lettuce. We're gonna use the rest of it. Now these can be used to regrow your own little fucking. Okay, all good salads need a few basic components. It doesn't matter what combination they work in, but they have to be there. There has to be a crunch. This can be a crouton or a nut or a little crispy onion or even some fried wontons. There's got to be that crunch. There's got to be a sweet, which can be a fruit or a raisin or a dried apricot or something like that. Well, they're all fruits. There's got to be a vegetable, not just the salad, but a vegetable in addition. Shredded carrot, something along those lines. And a dairy, a cheese, a Parmesan, or a chunked cheddar or a marble or something like that. Alright, after a bit of looking around, I found a few basic ingredients. For the crunchy, we're going to do salted peanuts, crushed and tossed in. For the fruit and the sweet, we're going to do some dried cranberries, my favorite fruit of all time. For the dressing, even though I didn't mention it, we're going to do Asian because these flavors are going to go well together. For the vegetable, we're going to add a little bit of pepper, probably yellow pepper. And for the cheese or the dairy, well, unfortunately I actually don't have anything. So I'm going to go against my very own lettuce. I mean, look, I could do Parmesan cheese or something like that, but that's sharp and bitter and it won't really work with the Asian flavors that were going on here. If I had some white cheddar or something like that, I'd block it in. But we don't. So I'm going to go against what I just said and not go dairy. Well, maybe there's dairy in the dressing. Calcium disodium EDTA. See? Calcium's in milk. Milk's in this. Done. Here's a trick. If this keeps sliding, just wet a towel and put it underneath. There we go. No more sliding. Now because they're wet, they can go right in. Peas nuts. There we go. Not the prettiest looking girl at the ball, but she's got most of what we need, minus the dairy. And wouldn't you know it, 15 minutes is up. We want to turn this down to about 325 and put this up to 25 minutes. I'm going to put the sweet potatoes in just enough water to cover them. Yeah, that's right. You're going to watch me boil potatoes because that's how we make shit goes. But what we are going to do in the meantime is we're going to make a brown butter sage to go into the mashed potatoes when they're ready to go. We're going to start by heating up some oil, not olive oil. Olive oil has a pretty low smoking point. That means it's going to start smoking before it gets hot enough to actually brown the butter. Now you do not want this smoking hot when you add the butter. You want it glistening. You want it hot, but not so hot that it's going to smoke the minute it touches the pan. That would be a bad idea. Alright, when the oil is hot enough, we want to add the sage. Once the sage is added, just move it around with a spoon. It's going to crackle and pop a little bit. You do not want it to burn, and it smells like it's good. Then you want to add the butter. Yeah, see how it's crackling and popping, but it's not burning? That's the way to do it. And we're going to cook this down until it's nice golden brown and the butter is browned. And then you're going to get that smell, that delicious smell of the browned butter as it starts to separate. And then you want to take it off the heat. There you go. See how it's nice and browned? Off. Sweet potatoes are a lot more stringy than regular potatoes, so they don't have the same consistency exactly. But they still should come off the fork relatively easy, like that. Then we want to drain. Once drained, add back to the pot you boiled them in. Add the brown butter. I'll start off with half. And mash. Mashed. And then taste. Pepper. And of course, Now the chicken only has about 5 minutes left, so we want to check it and see where it's at. Yes. Looking pretty good. If the juices run clear, you're in for no fear. The most important step now, to let this rest. But it doesn't have to rest in the pan, because we're gonna do something important in that pan. Make a gravy. Remember me? Says Mr. White Thing. Let him see it. Now this is what I was talking about, where we're not gonna ruin the butter, because we're just gonna add here a little bit more fat. Didn't hurt nobody. We're gonna make a little gravy. Want to add some water, and since I want to clean this pan simultaneously, I'm just pouring it into this pan and this one. I don't have the same rules about gravy as I do about, say, salads or yogurts. Save a few simple basics. Every gravy should have a wine of some sort. When you're making a gravy, a true gravy purist will make a roux. And a roux is a combination of a fat of some sort, which is typically an oil or it can be butter, and a flour, of some sort. You'll make that in a separate pan, you'll add the roux to the gravy, and that will thicken it gradually and more consistently. Listen, that's all well and good, and a roux is fine if you get the time and you're trying to impress friends, but you know what? Cornstarch works just fine. You want to mix cornstarch with cold water. You never mix cornstarch with warm water because it'll clump up. You don't want clumpy. They call this a slurry. Then some chicken stock for extra flavor. There could be enough in the bottom of the pan, but I like it really chickeny. And really, you can sort of cook this down as thick as you want. You might not even need a slurry if you got some time to kill, but really, I like to do a gravy because it takes about the time to make a gravy, a good gravy, for the same time as it takes a chicken to rest. As a side note, now would be a great time to dress your salad. Everything's brought together nicely. And now we want to whisk in our slurry. You want to be quick on this because it's going to thicken up awfully fast. There you go. Does you coat the back of the spoon? Yep. It's good too. Now let's say hello again to our friend Mr. Cooked Chicken. A lot of people might ask, what's the benefit of butterflying the chicken? There are a lot of smart answers, but honestly, I'll tell you right now. As someone who likes cooking a lot of whole chickens, this is why I like butterflying chickens. Done. Done, done. There you go. Dinner for 4 served. No mess, no fuss. You put that on the plate and we're done. And of course, because we're gentlemen, we always place the female first. I know Holly likes this. Bit o' salad. And of course, because we're not animals, a gravy boat. Oh yes. And there you have it. Roast chicken, sweet potato mash with sage brown butter, and a salad of sorts. And dinner is ready. Right, Hen? Yeah. And now the person who judges us so harshly, Miss Holly. Okay, Holly, so what do you think? Scale of 1 to 10.
It's a 10 out of 10.
A 10?
That's delicious.
What? 10 out of 10, there you have it. And Holly is an impartial critic, obviously. Henry, what do you think? 10 out of 10? Out of 10. No, you're not like that. You're British. 10 out of 10, father. Oh, you look chubby. I look chubby too. We're all chubby together.